Okay, so hopefully you saw my last video about what to look for in a project car. So in that video we kind of go over some of the basics of the project car, right? So, you know, the exterior, the interior, the engine, that kind of stuff, but more it's about setting your expectations, right? And figuring out where you're going to be willing to invest time and where you're going to invest money, and just finding a balance with that. So hopefully that video was helpful. If you haven't seen it, I'll put the description or the link down in the description, but if I forget to do that, just search my page. You'll find it. It's not very hard. I think it's called how to buy a project car. I think that's what it is. Anyway, this is the second part of that video. So we covered what to look for, but now let's figure out how to find a project car, specifically where to look. So I've found a few resources online that are really helpful. So we're going to cover those. You know, I think it's going to be helpful to define project car. So for me, project car, that's more of a price point. And that's going to be anything $3,000 or less. So at that price point, $3,000 or less, you're going to find something that you can work with. So you're not going to find something that's incredible, but you're not going to find a complete piece of junk either. I understand, like, some people want to spend more on a project car, some people want to spend a little less, but I think $3,000 is a great starting point. That's a good midpoint. Because again, like, you're not going to pay $3,000 for it. You're going to negotiate down. You're going to try to get close to $2,500 or something around there. And you're going to find something. And $3,000 and left, there's going to be a lot of options there. So that's where I set my parameters for project cars. So let me walk you through a couple of the online resources that I hit up to find my project cars. So first, I think it's going to be helpful if we talk about where not to look. So autotrader.com and cargurus.com. I think these are great sites if you're looking for a new car or a certified pre-owned car, because that's what these sites are going to be looking for, right? So they go and look through dealership inventories, and that's what they serve up to you. So you're not going to find many cars for $3,000 or less on CarGurus or AutoTrader. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Like, AutoTrader is not going to make a lot of money on a $3,000 car. There's just not a lot of commission in it. And it's the same for, you know, dealerships. There's just not a lot of money in a $3,000 car for a dealership. So these sites, they're great if you're looking for new, not so great if you're looking for a project car. So let's look at the best place, in my opinion, to find project cars. That's Facebook Marketplace. Okay, so Facebook Marketplace, it's been around for a while. Facebook kind of entered the classifieds area not long ago, but they've got a really good product in Marketplace, and they do a good job of, you know, keeping it current and useful. So you have all your typical search parameters: year, make, model, mileage. The search criteria that I'm more interested in is price. So I'm going to put $3,000. I'm going to just see what's in my area. So here we go. So again, I put in Honda Civic, $3,000, and here's all of the Honda Civics that are $3,000 or less. And you're gonna find stuff like this too, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And I hate it when people do this. Like, just put a price, okay? Because this is this. They just want attention for the post. It's a pet peeve, but whatever. But you're gonna find a lot of cars for $3,000 or less, and it's great. So, you know, this is Facebook, so it's really easy to get in touch with people, and you just have to keep in mind with Facebook Marketplace, the majority of these are going to be private sellers, so you're going to be dealing with a person-to-person transaction. You will find dealerships on Marketplace, but vast majority is going to be person-to-person. So just keep that in mind, as you're going to end up working with directly with the seller. But I personally like that a lot, because one thing that Facebook does that's really handy for me anyway is I can kind of go and look at the seller. So, you know, if I'm interested in a car, I can go and look in this person's profile. I know it's kind of like internet stalking, but it's helpful. I do it almost every time that I buy a car on Marketplace. I'll go check out the seller and just make sure that I feel comfortable with, you know, who I'm buying the car from. So that's really helpful. Also, it's helpful if you're a part of any kind of car group, like I'm part of the local Hondas community group here in Salt Lake, anything that's posted Honda related on Marketplace will show up in that group. So you get notifications right away when a new car pops up, which has been a lifesaver when I was looking for my EG hatch. They kept coming up, but they were being sold before I had a chance to even like contact the seller. The one that I ended up buying showed up. I was the first person to see it and contact the guy, and that's how I got the car. So that's really handy. Is like it's all part of the Facebook ecosystem. It'll show up in your feeds. You know, it's super easy to get in touch with sellers through Messenger. Like Messenger app is a great resource, and people are typically really responsive on Marketplace. So that's my number one go-to place to find project cars is Marketplace. So another resource that's really great, but it's kind of regional. It's called KSL, KSL.com. So KSL is a local news broadcaster here in Salt Lake, but they have a classifieds page on their website, specifically a cars classified page, and it is great. So before Marketplace really came into its own, this was the place to go, KSL.com. It has tons of cars. And these, again, you'll find dealers on here, but the vast majority is going to be private sellers. And you know, you have all these great search criteria, the same parameters, year, make, model, mileage. I just put in $3,000 or less. I didn't specify year, make, or model. And this is every car in my area that's $3,000 or less. And that's 172 pages of cars. So that's really cool. And KSL, like, they do a great job of, you know, we'll click into, let's look at this Accord. So, you know, you have your little description of what the car is, and then they show you the information. And to post, they require you to put in the VIN number, which is really helpful. So you can look up a Carfax on this car right from here, from this VIN number. That's super helpful. And then also they give you all the information you need to contact the seller and to start a dialogue. So I've bought a few cars through KSL, and it's always been a really seamless process. The one thing is the drawback for KSL, it's regional, right? So it's based in Salt Lake, so it covers Utah, Idaho, Colorado, Wyoming, and then, you know, you'll get Las Vegas in here every now and again as well, but that's kind of the area. So if you're in those states, like, KSL is a great place to look. But if you live, you know, in Pennsylvania or something, I would recommend looking at these. Like, if you're looking for a car, check out KSL. Like, you're gonna have to figure out how to ship the car to yourself, but it might work out for you. You might find the perfect car here. So KSL.com, it's a great resource. I still look at KSL quite a bit. So next place, eBay Motors. So eBay Motors, you know, I haven't personally bought a car from eBay Motors. I've had friends that have, and I've almost bought a car through eBay, but it just didn't work out for whatever reason. But eBay Motors is a great resource. Again, if you want to widen your search parameter to nationwide, eBay is the place to go. There are tons and tons of cars at this price point on eBay. And what's great about eBay is, you know, eBay is kind of the OG online retailer, right? So they have this stuff figured out. So if you run into any kind of a problem when you've purchased a car, if there's any kind of a dispute, eBay can step in. You can ask eBay to mediate a solution for you. And they're going to do it really quickly. They're not going to wait around for months to figure out what to do with your disagreement. They're going to try to resolve it immediately. And eBay is great that way. So I would have zero hesitation buying a car from eBay Motors. But that's just me. You know, some people might think otherwise. Few things to know just when you're in eBay. I usually turn on the buy it now option. The auctions, I just don't have the time or patience to deal with auctions. Like, I just want to know what the price is, and I want to be able to decide, can I afford it? I don't want to have to say, like, well, I can afford it now, and then get trapped into like a bidding war. So auctions, I don't pay attention to. It's going to be buy it now for me. So next, this should probably go on the list of places not to go to, but Craigslist. So Craigslist, again, this has been around for a long time, and it used to be a really good resource, but recently, like, it's sketchy as hell, guys. Let's just say it like it is. Craigslist is sketchy as hell. You're gonna find cars at this price point, $3,000 and under. That's like bread and butter for Craigslist. But beware of cars on Craigslist. I don't know what it is, and it might just be my region in Salt Lake, but anytime that there's a stolen car, like in the Honda community, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find it popping up on Craigslist. People are always getting rid of stolen cars on Craigslist. And I don't understand why they do this and why Craigslist is like their go-to shady car dealer, but it is. Like the stolen stuff, it doesn't show up in Marketplace, it doesn't show up on KSL, it shows up on Craigslist. So I stay away from Craigslist. The only way that I use Craigslist is if I want to look at a specific region in the nation. If I want a nationwide search, that's going to be eBay Motors. But if I want to look in like a specific area, like Long Beach or Portland or like Dallas, Texas, I'll go to the Craigslist page for those specific regions. But that's the only way that I use Craigslist. So yeah, with Craigslist, it's just going to be buyer beware. I'd be super careful and cautious about what you buy from Craigslist. Anyway, let's move on. So this next site is one that's kind of newer. It's called carsandbids.com, and it's an auction site. So it's kind of modeled after the bringatrailer.com stuff, and it's really great. Like there's a lot of really interesting cars on this site. I really like it. What's cool about it is the era of cars. So it's the 80s onwards, and it's not just any car. They want interesting cars. So it's cars like there's a Volvo V60 Polestar. This is a cool car. There's an M3 Coupe next to it. So these are cool, interesting cars, enthusiast cars. But you're not really going to find project cars on this site, unfortunately. These are going to be the higher price range. And then also it's an auction site, so just keep in mind, like, if you buy a car like this TL for $3,000, you're going to tack on a auction fee, like a 4% auction fee. So it's going to be $3,000 plus whatever that fee is. So just something to keep in mind on auction sites, but Cars and Bids especially. But I really like Cars and Bids. It's fun to just go and look at what's out there and find cool, interesting cars. So the next site that I like to look at quite a bit is bringatrailer.com. So Bring a Trailer, it's not going to be a great place to find a project car. I can almost guarantee you're not going to find a car for $3,000 or less on Bring a Trailer. This is definitely a site that's built specifically for the collector in mind. So this is deep pocket buyers, but it doesn't hurt to look at it. There's just really cool and interesting cars on Bring a Trailer, and it's constantly changing. So like where else are you going to find this first gen Prelude? Like, it's in mint condition. It's also $16,000, which is fun. Oh, look at this. Here's a Volvo V70R. Like, that's a really cool car. I have an affinity for wagons, but anyway, I'm getting sucked in already. Oh, another 2002 Turbo. Sweet. Anyway, this is a really great site. It's a good resource just because of how detailed the postings are. So if you're looking for specific things in a model of car that you are working on, Bring a Trailer is a great place because you're going to find like really mint condition. Oh, look at this. It's a Honda City Turbo 2 with the Moto Compo. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is $25,000. Totally worth it in my mind, but you're just not going to find a car like this anywhere else. Like, this thing is so cool. It looks like it just rolled out of the factory. Yeah. Oh man, I want one of these so bad. But see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this photo gallery, there are tons and tons of photos of these cars, and they're like mint condition cars, so you can see exactly the way the factory built the car. You can, like, I used it when I was working on my Miata to see how the stock interior was. I couldn't find good reference photo, but Bring a Trailer had a ton of great reference for it. So that's how I don't use it to find a car necessarily. I look at it more as reference and inspiration of just to see the way that people have put their cars together, and then also to see examples of like mint condition cars, like this Miata right here is ridiculously clean, like awesome. Also $7,500 for this Miata, this NA Miata. Yikes. Anyway, yeah, you're not going to find a project car on Bring a Trailer, but you're going to find a lot of really cool cars and a lot of cars that get you excited and interested. So those are kind of my places to go and look for project cars. Facebook Marketplace, great place to start. KSL.com if you're in the area, and then work your way through. And that's just kind of, those are my suggestions for places to look. I know Facebook Marketplace is pretty ubiquitous, it's going to be everywhere, but I'm interested to hear if there's like regional things like a KSL in your area. Like, I don't know what the KSL equivalent is in Arizona, so if you have a place that you've found success, that you find project cars, let me know. Let's put it down in the comments, and I'd be interested in checking it out and just looking at it. Project cars are all over the place, you can find them anywhere. So happy hunting. Well, I hope this is helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one.